let's check out Oako. It's a development tool that's going to make me and my coding agents more effective by giving us better context. It's basically context engineering as a service. Anything that an experienced developer would have in their head as they approach a problem, we want to provide that to you and your agent. So it's essentially a CLI with two commands. One that you run to onboard the repo and create that initial set of docs, and then one that you run after every change you make to keep the docs in sync with the code. All right, let's go get set up. So there's some instructions here that I should be able to copy paste into my agent to have it set up everything for me. Let's try it out. Let's go ahead and install the CLI. Now it wants me to log in, so I'll give it an email address and go grab that verification code. Okay, all logged in. Now we're going to set up the MCP server. And it's going to create a Claude MD that instructs Claude to use that MCP server. All right, and now buy some credits so that we can actually use the product. It's going to pop open this Stripe checkout page. You can pay with whatever methods you want. Okay, all done. All right, and now we're all set up and ready to use Oako. So I guess the next step is to run the onboard command. I guess I should also talk through what this example repo is here. It's a simple to-do app. It's hosted on AWS. So there's a backend API that runs on Lambda with DynamoDB for storage. And there's a front-end React app. And the front end interacts with the back end via this SDK that's generated via open API specs. Okay, so it looks like Oako created this oko.config.json file. Let's check that out. It has some files to exclude from processing following get ignore style patterns. You'll see it has totally excluded the SDK. That's mostly right because that's mostly generated files, but I do want two files there to be included in processing. So let me add those back in. I want the package JSON and I want the spec JSON. All right, that looks good, so we'll go ahead and continue. Okay, and we're all done. So let's see what it did for us. So I made this meta folder that has all the documentation about the code base in it. So it has an overview of the architecture, which looks like it got that correct. It has a dev folder, which will show you how to build the code base, show you how to deploy the code base. All this looks good to me. So let's go ahead and commit that. All right, now let's use it because the promise of Oako is that it's going to make the coding agent more effective. So let's give it a task here. As I said, this is a to-do app. It was very basic, so there's no kind of authentication, authorization on it at all. So let's add simple password protection as an option. And it's going to use the Oako MCP server to explore the code base, understand what's there, make better decisions about how to implement this feature. You can see it understands the structure of the app right off the bat. It knows that there's no authorization in place yet. And it knows what files to read without doing any of this weird grepping stuff that a coding agent would do without the support of an MCP server like this. Okay, that's all done now. So let's see what it touched. Yeah, modified the backend, modified the SDK, and modified the front end. So the next thing we do is we use Oako to update the docs to reflect those changes. So just run the Oako document command. And you can see it spits out a description of what that change includes. It's pretty accurate. And then it's going to go over all of the doc files that it thinks might be impacted and update them if needed. This should be much quicker and cheaper than running the onboarding phase. Okay, great. That's all done. Let's take a look at what it did. Let's see what it touched here. Okay, good. It updated the security model to mention that now lists can be password protected. Did some other changes in there. Let's see, updated the data flow to talk about the new password. And then it went through the file map, which is an inventory of all the files in the repo and a brief description of each one, and updated it accordingly. So like the put to-do list handler on the back end, for example, now it mentions that has password verification on it. And that's going to help the MCP server find the right files when you run queries. All right, so that's Oako. It's super simple to get set up and use, so please go give it a try and let me know what you think.